First set, we are in a tie match at the drop. Double gen pop to avoid the deadlock. They do go down. There is a haste status effect. They do have to be careful here. The hatch is going to spawn momentarily. Dead Hard could get them the distance to get it too.
Really smart play on the ace. Oh my god, getting shot through the window.
No longer have distortion, and they are going to teleport here. I think they get there in time. Yes!
Oh, the grab! Yes!
Oh my god!
That is disappointing. This is be a 4-man out because.
But they will be able to block this. Yo, getting caught on that. Ace coming with the body block. Oh, they were here.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, killers and survivors alike. We are here today for the semifinals of Group B, and we got Chronicles versus Prophecy, and I am once again joined by the Pug King himself. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and it's good to be back for this second set of matches for this semi-final. Exciting stuff with Chronicles and Prophecy, with a mirror off of Blight, Nurse, and Oni if it goes to 3 sets. We've already seen a very strong, iconic team. I can't wait to see what this brings, Gilt. I'm not going to lie, a little bit excited.
Yeah, I am excited as well, and we are jumping right on in, and these teams have chosen violence as we are getting a Blight mirror match on the Suffocation Pit, as Prophecy is going to be starting off here today against Chronicles Survivor Team. Blight already out on the prowl, and we do see some scratch marks over on the Shack side. Blight trying to identify where they've gone.
And we see an Adam in the distance as he makes his way to the safety of Shack. Hopefully can navigate and waste some valuable time to distract Phineas while the team get on the gens. Committing to the chase, but decides to depart from Shack, but gets blocked by the pallet as Adam leaps back to the loop, and Phineas breaks chase and sees 2 survivors by the mound.
Yeah, I do want to point out here, there was no corrupt intervention, so no sign of any real start of the game slowdown here from the Blight. A bold move indeed, but seems to be working out for them as they already have 2 survivors injured here. It looks like Serena will not be going down.
I think we all paused with hesitation because we thought that was a given down, but some form of shimmy and slip round the wall made the survivor get away. They were very lucky, but I think he's going to redeem themselves. A bit of first game nerves, but we do see Jinglebox hit the ground.
Yep, that is our resident producer himself, Jukebox, or themselves rather, Jukebox, and looks like we will be getting our first hook here, though survivors not getting deterred will get their first gen as well.
Yep, and Jukebox, did you say? I had to check that I had my glasses on.
I think they're the, their holiday selves right now, so that's their holiday DVD name, Jinglebox.
And why wouldn't you be? It is the first weekend in December, but we are watching Chronicles v Prophecy, who's going to murder who quickly on this Blight pan-off. But I think you're right, that not picking Corrupted is a dangerous gamble. Do you think it will pay off?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we see the survivors split up pretty well here across these gens. We did notice deadlock here earlier, so looks like the Blight really just deciding to go full gen regression, which we've seen so far. We have seen a gen highlighted in yellow, which these survivors will soon be aware is a overcharge, which means that that is also an eruption as well. And on top of which, you may have noticed, the keen-eyed viewers may have noticed that that is also a Pop Goes the Weasel. So the full gen regression kit here, and I think the Blight just really hoping to slow things down as we do see the Zarina move to second stage.
That's a lot of confidence in the Blight player not having that safety net of Corrupted, but as you said, that full regression gen kit means that they're comfortable darting from one side or the other to keep that gen pressure up. We've seen the survivors all get injured trying to get Jinglebooks off the hook, but fail to. And this is starting to turn around for Prophecy's killer Phineas as Apple goes down.
Yeah, honestly, this is a really dangerous position here for these survivors to be at. They were unable to get the unhook here on the Zarina. Adam, the only healthy survivor, they're going to have to, some way, shape, or form, fake out the Blight here on this hook standoff. And looks like the Adam deciding to say, you know what, not going to happen. The Blight being very patient. We're just going to go for the pickup on the Nia instead.
And the musical jingle box looks like they're progressing out of the game. That is going to cost Chronicles dearly. Prophecy playing well at their start off as this set. Maybe, hopefully this is how they approach how they mean to go on, as he heads back and sees the other survivor who's early pallet dropping to try and create some level of distance between them. Yeah, but has been caught. That was apologies for the pause, but got hit, went into the locker as they were falling, and then fell out the locker again.
Yeah, Nia doing a really good job there, trying to keep some distance between them and the Blight. Unfortunately, the Blight navigating that main building expertly. Honestly, the Blight really putting the pressure here on Chronicles Survivor team, trying to get some hug tech going here, but unable to make it work as they will go to swing, but unfortunately missing on the Adam.
Yep, swinging aimlessly round multiple times, enabling Adam to get round, create some time here as he drags the Blight away from the hook. Hopefully that Cinnacookie can get across and save their teammate while he's being distracted. But it looks like that's not the case, as Adam tries to bring it around and is in trouble here. As Chronicles are in serious trouble as Prophecy are starting strong as a killer.
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, both sides do an amazing job here. Survivors really focusing in on these generators, ensuring that they don't get 4K'd at 3 gens remaining, 4 gens remaining, and really just putting the pressure here on this killer as they are going to progress Nia to second stage by the looks of things, unless there's a dealing play, but I don't think there was a safe unhook through that entire process.
No, I don't think so either, hence why I feel they're killer's slightly ahead in regards to this. Cinnacookie's obviously off somewhere else as Adam is being re-healed here. I think the pressure is good, but Apply is off the hook, which means the survivor's there, and Cinnacookie is probably over the other side of the map, pumping out that gen, trying to maximize as many points as they can.
Yeah, I will note here, the Blight not going for the Nia, surprisingly. Instead, trying to go for the Adam, maybe trying to get some of those fresh hook points, as Adam has yet to be hooked thus far. And it looks like both the Nia and Nancy will be over on the other side, as we do see Bloodlust proccing, but Blight dropping chase, afraid that another gen's going to pop out in another moment.
It could be that Adam's just been a constant form in his side that he's chose to break that chase, but doing well. A nice little bebop to show, come and get me, come and get me. Doing well to suck up the time of Phineas as a killer. Another miss as Adam is making this loop, small loop, look easy. But Phineas decides to break chase.
Honestly, an amazing chase there by the Adam, allowing their team to reset, get some progress on these gens. However, Nia getting found here is a nightmare for these survivors, as they are one hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity, and looks like that down will secure it, and it is now going to be down to a 2v1 with 2 generators remaining. Yeah,
a good start. I think that is incredible bad luck for Chronicles, as Apply does get hooked and put out of the game. It's fairly balanced. I'm not quite sure what way it was going to go. I thought Chronicles were there, but the skill of the Adam looping around and doing that time, and there he is again, how much time he can get, and Cinnacookie is now fully healed, and hopefully is oh, there she is in the distance. I spoke too soon. It's the curse of the caster.
Yeah, and Compound here really giving the Blight all the info they need, as they will hit the Nancy. But Blight a little bit concerned about the progress on these gens, will go back to pressure the Adam, knowing that the Nancy will not be able to heal. The question is, are they able to get a hit and a down on the Adam this time around?
Yep, and Adam there, looping back round up, speeding off. Is he going to catch him? Phineas must be starting to get a little bit frustrated in these chases, but Adam doing a really good job.
Yeah, and trying
I'm
to
not quite sure what
pull-
was happening there.
So, for the uninitiated when it comes to Blight versus Survivor, that there was the Adam trying to force the Blight to slide off of them, as Survivors don't have a bounce hitbox, more or less. But unfortunately unable to do so, as the Blight will catch the corner of the door, getting it down there. So really unfortunate that did not work out in their favor, as Nancy will go down without an Unbreakable. I believe that there will be the 4K with 2 gens remaining for Prophecy.
Yeah, really, really good start by Prophecy. Comes second in Division B2, but have come out to this game with a purpose in mind to win it, and really stating their claim with a strong performance by Phineas and putting pressure on Chronicles Killer for the next one, where Prophecy will need to just do more than 3 gens.
Yeah, and looks like they're currently waiting for the pickup, maybe thinking that there could be an Unbreakable or something here. Either that or worried about a deliverance in the distance. Adam has yet to be hooked, and so was Nancy prior, so unless there was a safe unhook, I don't foresee a deliverance play coming out here to save these survivors like we almost saw in the Spirit match earlier today.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we saw a safe one. I think deliverance isn't going to come into play here, but it could be wrong. Adam having a little dance and party to himself while Phineas overlooks it. Should be a few seconds now, and then we'll know for sure.
Yep, just waiting for that second stage to proc on the Nancy. This way, they only have to pay attention to one survivor unhook, and Adam will have the Blight's undivided attention. Like
a cheeky little hit there on the Adam, and it's just a waiting game to see if he's going to pounce off and save the day to get them extra points. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, especially if how long of a run it would be over to Shaq and Hatch, and that there will secure the 4K for Prophecy's Blight. And if that being said, it is definitely an uphill battle, but not impossible for Chronicles Killer, as they'll also be playing the Blight and will need to get a 4K at 3 gens to tie, or a 4K at 2 gens to take the set. With that being said, though, we are going to go on a quick break as we do switch sides and get the lobby set on up. But before we do want to remind everyone here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So that as they watch, all the bits that you tip, all the subs that you buy, and of course all the Rogue Energy that you buy using the code COTF goes to supporting Champs of the Fog, and the prize pool is for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. right, and we are back for trial number 2 of set number 1, Prophecy versus Chronicles, and we are once again going back to the suffocation pit, this time though with Chronicles Blight against Prophecy Survivor team, and they are going to need to get a minimum of a 4K at 3 gens to tie the set, or a 4K at 2 gens to win the set and steal away from Prophecy. What do you think here, Pug King? Do you think it's possible?
Anything is possible. I mean, Chronicles have been a very strong team all season, and so has Prophecy, but complete different ends of the league. And Prophecy must be over the moon with such a strong start from Phineas on their Blight. But it's about time to see who has the best Blight, as we see this one flying across the map in search of its first survivor, and this time has brought Corrupt versus the last Blight that didn't.
Yeah, we'll see how Corrupt fares here, or if the full Generation package that we saw earlier was worth it. But Blight on the Prowl, Blighted Crow, and Blighted Rat really allowing the Blight to just maneuver around this map with impunity. And we will see the first survivor here, and I believe that there is a Claudette, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, did they see that survivor? I just saw, oh yes, there we go. Straight in front of them as pursues Claudette, breaks the pallet, but breaks Chase and is more concerned on the gens and protecting them areas to make sure they're not progressed than keeping in chase with that survivor.
Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. We did see that gen highlighted in yellow before the Blight left, so very likely a Call of Brine or Eruption, but based on the way that they left the chase, very likely an Eruption, in fact, though we'll find out here in just a few moments, as we will see the Nancy at the Sprint Burst getting the pallet stun as well, and revolting the pallet. That was a very spicy swing there, and Nancy is, I would say, a little bit lucky not to have gotten hit.
Yeah, but soon made up for it. Got the slam, a cheeky little slap, a miss swing by our Blight here. A little bit of nerves settling in because, believe it or not, the pressure must be all on them to make sure that they at least tie or win this set with the challenge that's in front of them. But the survivors here now stacked with 2 of them injured and in pursuit of Nancy on this handy looping tile.
Yeah, the LT wall is going to be rough for Nancy. Blight going for the swing and the miss once again. Nancy calling the Blight's bluff. And Nancy doing a fantastic job here, looping the Blight, but will take the hit at the window. And that there is an Eruption, as we see 2 gens regress by 10%, a total of 18 seconds across them both.
That is some good quick maths that you've got going on there, Gilt. But we do see our first survivor go on to the hook. It was almost like the slight nerves there from them swings. I didn't see Nancy do anything shimmery. It's just a slight anticipation, but does really well on them rebounds and getting that hit off to knock Nancy down as we pursues and tries to find their next victim.
Not to interrupt, but Gil, can you please check our partner general chat, the producer chat?
Can do. Thank you much for the heads up.
Okay, well, that's going on in the background. We see our killer searching for its next survivor, in proximity of that hook survivor, forcing the team out. But it all seems a little bit quiet. Remember that the survivors just need to crank out more gens than what we saw there. They need to ensure that they get free to secure the set.
Yeah, we do see that unhook there earlier, and looks like they are going to be rushing after the Nancy once again, going for the tunnel out. However, Blight trying to go for the rush here, trying to go for the hug tech, but unable to get it.
Nancy being pursued around there, but Ace is coming in for the block. Some good teamwork there. We now see 3 of the survivors injured, and Nancy goes down again. This is also a good start, as we're yet to see a gen pop as we go on for our second hook on the same player, applying that extra bit of pressure as they're on now Death Hook. And bringing that survivor out of the game could change the game completely.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Chronicles that much needed, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, that would be a huge boon here for the killer. Do you want to note there, we also saw a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, which also regressed to the most progressed gen by 15%. Survivors trying desperately to get these gens cranked out, but just unable to do so here. And looks like we will get the down there on the Claudette. Blight going back for the unhook on the Nancy, wanting to get them out of the game, really putting the pressure here on these survivors. And looks like Blight has found another survivor here, as we do see scratch marks on the shed.
And Ace takes a hit and belts off there. It looks like that survivor is gonna die on hook. Phoenix, the captain, is down, slugged. Ace is injured. We don't know where Laurie is, but I don't think there's a last-minute save as that person now dies.
Yeah, looks like we did see them die on hook. Ace trying desperately to get there, but unable to do so before the Blight was able to rush over to intercept. And Ace now in a very dangerous spot, and things are looking very good here for Chronicles, as they now have Ace down on the ground, first survivor out of the game with 4 gens remaining. And looks like Blight will need to break the pallet there, as they were unable to get the pickup.
Absolutely. We said this was going to be a tough job for Chronicles Blight, and it was. Who would be the best Blight and who would be the best survivor team, but doing a really good job for Chronicles, as 1 gen has been done and another survivor going on to the hook.
And not just any hook, that there is another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, so another 15% off that gen. And this gen over here, by the way, was about 99 last time we saw it before the last kick, and it is now back to half, if not less now after that kick with Pop Goes the Weasel.
Has done an excellent job putting that pressure on the survivors, taking back the gen progression, as you've just said there. This is a really strong start. I think we're up for some really good games here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see the unhook there on the Ace. I imagine the Blight will go for the tunnel out, and sure enough, getting rid of BT off the bat. And we will see them continue the chase as Ace goes into the middle of nowhere. I'm sensing a bit of a decisive strike, I feel.
Well, we'll soon find out. The killer doesn't care. He wants it because he knows he's going to catch him if he uses it. He's either missed it or he didn't have it.
Yeah,
I think there was just a moment of panic kicking in there.
Yeah, maybe just not realizing that the Blight would be able to get them to a hook, not just any hook, but also another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. So once again, just regressing this gen here on the hill, which seems to be the most progressed one by another 15%. Ace is in a very dangerous spot now, as they are 1 hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity.
Yeah, not a position Prophecy wanted to be in with such a strong start from their killer. Ace is now on the hook, under pressure. We've seen them try to go. Laurie is nowhere to be seen, and I think the Blight knows that and he's trying to see where she's hiding. Oh, is that her?
I believe it is. That's at least one of the survivors. Looks like the Laurie, in fact, and
Is
they
it?
will
It
get the
is.
miss here at the pallet.
Just the skills of this killer and the ability to constantly think about what's going on. Really good game brain, making sure that they found out for Laurie, who had gone a bit AWOL, to make sure that they're not doing that gen. Really good stuff from Chronicles killer.
Yeah, no, amazing job by both survivors and killer alike, but the killer here just applying the pressure time and time again. We see the Ace trying to make the journey across the middle of the map. I imagine trying to go to Laurie's gen before she's able to go down. But the question is, will they be able to get there fast enough, as Blight will get the down? And sure enough, double eruption, and we see the Claudette scream, incapacitating them for 25 seconds.
Wow, what a play. There's not much they can do. They can't heal, they can't do gens, they can't do anything. 1's on hook. Really sticky position for Prophecy to be in. And again, I keep saying it, well played by Chronicles killer, but we knew this was going to be a tough job considering Prophecy's strong start, but have come out all guns blazing and really sucking up that pressure the survivors gave them to go into this, and have really turned up today.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Pop Goes Weasel get applied to that gen. Once again, really well progressed. However, things are looking quite grim. Ace nowhere to be seen. Claudette also kind of hidden, as we do see a noise notification there in the distance. That's on the gen as well. 10% off that gen. That's 9 seconds that the gen has been regressed by, and they are in a little bit of a pickle, I feel.
Yeah, and you almost wonder what the captain is saying to the remainder of the team. Are we going to leave Blink on to die on hook while we try and crank out them gens? I think it's a 4K and free to draw. If it stays like this, then Chronicles will go through. So it's interesting to wonder what they're saying. Gil, what do you think's going on between the camp on the Survivor side?
I imagine it's a little bit of chaos to try and keep track of where this blight is going, but it looks like the Ace is going to be drawing them away from the generator. As a reminder, as far as the win condition is concerned, the survivors need to get 3 gens just to tie things up. So
wow.
I do fear that the Claudette is probably sitting on the gen here over by the hill, not going for the unhook, and I think the Blight senses it too and is going to go back and interrupt, and sure enough, will get the hit. Claudette committing though, this might be a huge mistake unless they have a bounce landing, and they will get down.
They don't, and you're right, that was a pressure. I don't know, miscommunication or panic is we need to get this gen unless they know that no one's about to pop over here. I don't know, but this is not a good position as Ace has now been spotted and is being pursued like a panther on its prey.
Yeah, this was the win condition for Chronicles. They needed to get the 4K before 3 gens were completed, and this is exactly it. We see the Claudette down on the ground, the Ace down on the ground, unless there's a deliverance, unless there is a unbreakable, things are looking quite grim indeed.
Yeah, what you need is some form of James Bond maneuver off the hook and down into hatch at a perfectly timed moment in time, which I don't think is going to happen, as we see Chronicles are early celebrating already as he looks at the 4th survivor to put onto hook. But is he going to wait to see if Phoenix does have deliverance?
Yeah, I imagine they probably will. The question is whether or not they'll be able to find the last survivor there after. Ace has been on hook twice already, so this is the smart move here to ensure that the Claudette is on hook. However, if Ace by some means makes it out via the hatch, I believe that will tie the set up. However, if Ace bleeds out, then it won't matter. Chronicles will take set number 1 with a very narrow victory.
What would that victory be?
I believe it would be 2 points. It's that one generator. Wow. It is that one generator, and so thus, if the Ace were to somehow make it out via the hatch, it'd be 2 points. 1 point for the survivor, the killer would lose out on 1 point, and so that would result in a tie for set number 1. But I imagine the Blight has accounted for this and will be making their way to the hatch as we speak.
Yeah, this Blight has performed brilliantly, has used their game brain to their maximum capacity, has gone from one side, knowing what survivors have been in view, and then trying to find the one that's going to miss in to ensure that gens weren't done. Perfectly executed by Chronicles Killer. That was a really good example of great Blightmanship as they go forward, and they set that objective for the win, and they've done it.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing job by both sides, but congratulations to Chronicles for taking set number 1. And we are going to be moving to set number 2 now, where we are going to the Dead Dog Saloon, where we are getting a very spicy nurse mirror match with Chronicles up first against Prophecy Survivor Team.
Looking forward to a spicy nurse off in the Dead Dog Saloon.
Indeed, indeed. Make sure you're at the bar, grab a sarsaparilla, and make sure you are ready for another set as we are going to go on a quick break. But before we do, we are going to... Words are hard sometimes. We are going to go on a quick break, but before we do, I want to remind everyone here today that we are partnered with Pugdom and the Pug King himself. For those who are not aware of what Pugdom is, they are a Dead by Daylight competitive community very similar to ours. They host a litany of different events from tournaments, leagues, and more. But not to mention, they are also going to be hosting Group B for Season 6 of Champions of the Fog. So make sure you stop on by, say hi, and drop a follow. Any additional words you want to add to that, my friend?
No, I also struggle with words myself, but it's great and an honor to be partnered with such an established and well-respected league. Thank you, Gilt. I look forward to working with you all.
Awesome. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. All right, and we are back once again with Prophecy versus Chronicles, and we are jumping right on into the Dead Dog Saloon. We got Chronicles piloting the Nurse versus Prophecy's Survivor team.
Yep, looking forward to this Nurse off. Who is the better Nurse? We've already seen who is the better Blight. It's time for them to put their wits against each other as we enter the Dead Dog Saloon. Who will come out on top? Prophecy will want to be coming out strong here and really make up for the last Survivor game. But I think that Heck, if they've chosen Nurse, will have the same amount of skills as they do with the Blight. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do here.
Oh, absolutely. Heck has been proven time and time again to be a very competent nurse. And so we see them blinking around, trying to identify where these survivors might be.
Yeah, the thing about Nurse, I mean, we rarely saw it in League B. It was always the first to be banned. So it's great to see at these later stages that we've got two competent teams that think they can have this Nurse off. The Survivor's doing a good job to hide from the Nurse, sneaking around, trying to avoid detection, waiting out Corrupt. I wonder if Heck will find them and Prophecy remain hidden. They're doing a good job as we're halfway through it already.
Yeah, so far the Nurse doing a great job. We do see the Zarina there trying to hide in the bushes, but the keen-eyed Nurse has found them, and it looks like we are on their first chase.
Just as I say, they're doing a good job hiding. What happens? They pop out. But here we'll go see, straight in. Oh, and early miss as Zarina works her way around the back of the tile, but is in a very unsafe position. Nothing to protect. I didn't even see her there. Hiding in the bush. Blended well in with the tumbleweed.
She blended in just right. However, those groans of pain, a good indicator, and looks like Heck was able to suss that out, as we will see Scourgehook Pain Resonance regressing the most progressed gen by 15%.
Maybe I'm just too old that I couldn't hear or see that thing. I probably need to check myself there. But we see more scratch marks as it floats up to the top level of the bar, gives the gen a kick and looks for their next victim. But the beauty about such a small map like Dead Dog and having the Nurse is able to traverse from one side to the other seamlessly, almost proxy camping from above, using the Nurse on that hook, as we look like that may go into second stage as she flies back just to make sure.
Yeah, the Nurse doing a great job keeping an eye from the main building, trying to make sure that this first hook does progress to second stage, and it's looking like it will happen, as there are no sign of the survivors unless they're sneaking through the bushes like we saw earlier, which, I mean, on the Dead Dog ain't something that is outside the realm of possibility.
You were expecting a Claudette to pop out the bush at last minute and do a rescue. I think we just see that go on to second stage there. The survivors seem, are they scattered or are they hiding? It doesn't look like there's anyone progressing on these four gens over this side of the map. As the Nurse overlooks from their tower, can't see anybody.
Yeah, Nurse actually has a really good setup here. We do see a gen over there, but looks like they're actually interested in potentially progressing this survivor to Deathhook. They've really put the pressure on these survivors here, as they kind of have a 3-gen here, actually even a 4-gen, some could argue, as they have that one in main that the Nurse is really easily able to access. We do see a skill check miss on that gen there, the unhook as well on the Zarina, and looks like the Nurse will go for the tunnel out.
Yeah, that's some good play. It's good to see that the gen, I was getting a bit nervous about what Prophecy were doing from an objective. Tried to burn him out, but Zarina goes down again, and this will see her exit the game.
Yeah, this will be the first virus impacted the campfire via the entity, and that is going to be huge for this Nurse and extremely detrimental to this survivor team, as they have one less survivor to work on gens, especially with this very tight 3-gen in this back corner.
Yeah, a lot of pressure has now been applied to Prophecy, and Chronicles killer again, starting very, very strong. The challenge has grown already with these 3, with 4 gens to still complete. It is tough as we see the next victim easily taken.
Yeah, Nancy now here at the water wheel. Not a lot of things to work with. The biggest thing you can work with when it comes to Nurse is kind of work around those obstacles and objects to kind of break that line of sight. But at water wheel, the Nurse can see you for days on end. And it looks like we are going to hook next to this gen here, pushing the Lori off of it.
Yeah, that's good play. Not hooking near enough and going to where the gen was progressed. Keep that pressure up. Make sure not as many gens. We saw this last time when we saw that really difficult challenge that they had to do, only let the surviving team do 2 gens. This time it's only 1. And we see another foul check over there, I think it was, notifying that the next victim is there. This is not where Prophecy want to be right now.
Yeah, Survivor's really just getting unlucky on the skill checks. It might be immediately when they're jumping off, and when that's happened, you know, they just get that 10% regression off that gen, regressing it by a total of 9 seconds every time. We've seen that multiple times now, and this generator will be highlighted in yellow as Eruption will get applied.
Yeah, that's the nerves, I think, kicking into Prophecy, knowing that the challenge and this really skilled killer, the Nurse is doing very well to progress and transverse across the map. Going back to that other gen, I think... Can I see that? No, in the distance my eyes were there. I thought we saw another survivor. We're going to see someone else be pinned into that corner, but we don't.
Yeah, however,
as we continue to hunt.
These gens all highlighted is going to be very, very delicate work for these survivors, as the next survivor who goes down is going to proc 3 eruptions. And I think the Nurse realizes that and really just wants to get this down. We see the Claudette there in the back corner, and I believe this will result in a hit.
Yeah, I don't think the Nurse has really missed one. I think we've seen one missed hit and has blinked incredibly well as we see Claudette, the captain, go down.
Yep, and down like a sack of spuds she does go, and Eruption does activate across 3 gens, a total of 30% over those generators. Though I will note, no incapacitation status effects getting applied, so these survivors did time getting off the gens quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing well, trying to get their points out. I love to see another gen pop, put their good work to have some form of reward, but this Nurse is on a mission to ensure that that doesn't happen.
And Nurse with a quick check of the locker, not seeing the Lori as they pass by, but Lori now very much in chase. And it looks like Nurse will blink to the corner of Shaq and getting a very spicy hit right there.
I mean, it was so unlucky of that survivor. If it was only 1 second more, they probably wouldn't have seen them in the background. We only just saw it out the corner of the eye. A cheeky little flashbang, but punished for throwing it down as Blink goes down and is about to go onto their hook.
Absolutely. In that struggle, we did note that Claudette did get unhooked and is now healed. But as we said earlier, that very early death really is going to be biting these survivors in the butts, as now they are just struggling to get any gen progression.
Yeah, and it's tough. It is tough for these survivors. Again, I wonder what the captain is saying to the remainder of the team. Is panic set in, or is there composure and leadership as they know what they have to do and make sure they at least get 1 or 2 gens off, just to not have that added pressure on their killer when they go into the next game?
Yeah, however, this Nurse not taking their foot off the gas pedal, as we will see Lori off the hook. Nurse taking the pal stun, Nancy with the blind to boot, but I don't think it'll get the Nancy very far, as the Nurse will be right on top of them nonetheless.
Yeah, I would say a little bit of frustration's building in, but I think this Nurse is confident they're going to pay back Nancy for that cheeky pallet slap and that blind, as we hear her peg up the stairs, and down she goes.
Yeah, Nurse just taking her time, realizing that they don't need to make any hasty blinks, and will end up getting the down at the top of stairs. And I sense a Scourge coming on into play, as it will regress the most progressed gen by 15%.
Yeah, really strong start by Chronicles coming out. Prophecy really up against it. Hard to see how they're going to pull back from it. We just need to make sure that they do more gens than possible. That Scourge hook really adding extra value to the pressure on the survivors and easing off the pressure of the killer. Confidence must be growing bit by bit as they easily blink across the map, looking for their next victim.
Yeah, and once again, we're seeing them go around, use their Pop Goes Weasel, use their Eruption. And we are seeing these gens highlighted in yellow once again and making it that much harder for these survivors to do much of anything. And the nurse just kind of waiting for the unhook and just going, okay, well, here's my next victim. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And that's what these, you know, 1v3 scenarios really lead to. And we do see I think the Nancy injured here. And I believe the nurse will go for the tunnel out.
Yep, the easy option sees her in the corner, easily blinks across, knows she's in trouble, but did a cheeky little double back, but didn't pay off there. Thought a dumb tech was in play, but it wasn't, and she goes down, where we will see her exiting the game.
Yeah, a bit of a chaotic chase there as the nurse misfired their blink there, not able to get through the object, but Nancy vaulting back into them at the wrong time. Now in a bit of a 2v1 scenario. Once again, the most progressed gen regressed by 50% off of that Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, but Nurse, not really worried about the 3-gen, will move to the gen between Water Wheel and the back of this area here, and we'll see if Lori is trying to crank it out.
Yeah, you could see in the scratch marks there, the gen progression on, but this is going to be a challenge to get one off. We want to see one of the survivors basically bring the nurse into a long chase, enough time for the other to get a gen off, but Chronicles must be happy with this start of this performance. Really tough mission for Prophecy to get hold of, to get one out. But we do see that they are split across the side of the map, so it may be possible to crank out another gen before they're found by this incredibly powerful nurse.
Yeah, I mean, that's really going to be what their goal is here, just to get one more gen, because, you know, at 2 gens, it can be difficult, but not impossible. 1 gen, though, I mean, you just split 3 survivors across 3 gens, and unless you are absolutely demolishing in chase, there ain't much you're going to be able to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that 1 gen is that would be an easy set win. But saying that, we have seen stranger things. You should never count it out. But yeah, they must be trying. They are going back to the same gen over and over again. We see it as they kick, goes back over. The survivors hiding around here somewhere. This could go on for some time if they play it right.
I mean, these survivors actually doing a really good job communicating with one another. Okay, the nurse is going away from my gen. You need to jump off of your gen early. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I mean, there's no call of brine, so the amount of regression they're getting is that 2.5% off the initial kick, followed by 0.3% thereafter. And so Nurse really concerned here that this survivor might complete this gen.
Yeah, and they know that, and this is the game brain that we saw that gem popped up, was so concerned with that one, the one across the other side of the map has popped, and sees the next survivor there. Let's see how long they can keep it and whether the survivor can get themselves to another gen and get one off, and that would be a miracle. That would be a really good end game for these survivors if they could get an extra gen done, but we thought it was impossible to get another one done. Maybe they can, Gilt. What do you think?
I think it's not going to happen, unfortunately, as, you know, not a lot of gens had a lot of progression.
Big grudger.
And I think here with this hook next to Shaq, it is going to be quite an uphill battle for these survivors to do much of anything unless they had a gen 99 and primed and ready to go. They would need at least 30 seconds on that gen in order for it to be much of anything. So unless they went back to this gen here that the nurse is going back to pop, I think this will be the 3K at a minimum and a 4K as we do see them suiciding on hook right there. We're seeing the attempt. Nurse playing it very carefully to ensure the Lori can't get here. Going to come down to who knows where the hatch is. And Nurse is on it, will get it shut, and Lori is going to be taking their final chase of this match.
That was a lot of confidence to get that timing right going through there, but made it look easily to prevent that survivor going down. But that is the 4K Chronicles, and only 2 gens were completed. So that's what they'll need to do to make sure they either draw and getting that one gen that we saw that nearly happened with this game for Prophecy, but let's see what happens. Exciting stuff.
Indeed, indeed. But that being said, GG to both sides, as that was quite the entertaining match. And we are going to be switching sides now, where Prophecy is going to be taking their nurse against Chronicles Survivor team. Before we do, though, we do want to remind everyone here today that we are thankful for all of your viewership, as you, yes, you, the viewers, are our sponsors. So that as they watch, all the bits they tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the rogue energy you buy using the code COTF goes to supporting Champs of Fog and our prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we are going to be back in just a bit for what could be the final trial of Group B's semifinals. We'll see you soon. right, and we are back for what could possibly be the final trial of this match between Chronicles and Prophecy, as Prophecy will be piloting the Nurse against Chronicles Survivor Team. And Chronicles Survivor Team, their win condition comes down to 2 generators completed. If they do that, they will tie the set, and the win will go to them as they took set number 1. However, if Prophecy somehow manages to get a 4K at 1 gen completed, we'll be going to set number 3.
Yeah, a really tough task for Prophecy. I mean, even a draw, getting a 4K and only allowing the Survivor team to do 2 gens will still lose them the overall match, which means they have to basically only allow them to do 1 and get a 4K. A really tough challenge. Let's see how they pan out. Who is the better Nurse? That was a really strong Nurse game from Heck, and Phineas, we know, started strong with the Blight game, but he is on the hunt right now, trying to find their first survivor. And again, no corrupt this time.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of the MO here for Prophecy's killer. No corrupt prevention, no fear. They will get a very spicy hit there on the Meg. Starting things off, we do see that Firecracker there getting blind, not able to see where they're going, and Meg will make a little bit of distance, extending the chase by just a bit, but Nurse will get the down pretty quickly too, mind you. And looks like the Nurse, knowing their win conditions, actually going to go for the slug play.
Yeah, and that makes sense because carrying over there's the first gen gone already. That pressure is on. 3 players up, needs to get them all down to stand with a chance. And it could pay off. I do think not picking Corrupted, knowing the challenge in front of them, will be a mistake. But again, if this build works out and they achieve that goal, then what does it matter?
Yeah, that's true. I will say Survivor is keenly aware of a very uncommon perk seen nowadays, and that there is in fact a Hex Ruin, as gens are progressing at 100% without the killer interacting with it. And we've seen that gen go off there in the distance from the Ada, where the Nurse is going to go for the swing, but missing narrowly, as Ada will make their way into the main building.
Yeah, that was a dangerous miss there, but made up for it, but added on extra time. And down, 2 are down. Just needs to find the other 2 to get that. Are they on a gen trying to crank it up? We see the next survivor coming up, so we know at least 2 are over there. This tactic could pay off.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not settled the realm of possibility. I mean, we do see it kind of working out bit by bit. Sloppy Butcher also being used to slow down the heals on these survivors, but it's going to come down to the wire as the gens are going to be regressing, survivors are getting picked up, Nurse realizing what they need to do, and they're going back to the survivors, I think, who were previously on the ground, and maybe taking a look at this gen as well, as it was getting worked on prior.
Yeah, doing well to basically make sure no gens are working, constantly going backwards and forwards, trying to catch survivors, hopefully to get a snowballing game. They're yet to reset or stay in one position. I wonder how Chronicles are going to approach this. We do see one in the background, and again, it's the Meg.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Meg trying to take the attention from the Nurse, but Nurse realizing that they really can go into a long chase as the second gen is completed, and that there was the win condition for Chronicles. That is all they needed, so it comes down to the Nurse playing for their own pride, as these survivors will now be in chase with the Nurse.
That was a shame. That would have been a tremendous comeback and going into that 3rd set if this would have paid off. You could literally see what they were trying to do from a strategy. Unfortunately, weren't able to execute on it. But as you said, this is all about honor now and competing and really setting a stall to show how good they are as a team, because all is not lost. They will be playing in the bronze finals tomorrow, right?
They will indeed, and Prophecy will be going up against Tribute, if I am not mistaken, in tomorrow's bronze match. So we'll see those two teams here again, as we'll be seeing Chronicles versus Iconic as well. So make sure you are here for those, as Nurse has found the Ada, and looks like they're going to be going to the outside of the map, as she will take a hit.
Yeah, I wonder how this is going to change the gameplay now from a strategy point of view. We'll probably see this Ada go on to overall hook. Looking forward to Prophecy versus Tribute. That will be a grudge match, and there will be no love lost between the two.
I can imagine. Nurse, though, not really changing their strategy here. Still going for the slug out plays here, and trying to find where this Meg has gone, but Meg has all but disappeared, as Nurse will fall back, and looks like they're going to instead pressure some more gens, and we do see a survivor there behind main, though Nurse may have not noticed them in time.
Chronicles surviving team playing incredibly well, communicating, while Phineas is trying to do that pressure and play that slug game. The Chronicles team have adapted, split across multiple areas of the map, and appear to be communicating like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, these survivors doing a fantastic job, knowing when and where to reset, taking their time where need be, and, you know, the Nurse here is so desperately going for the slug out play and getting all four slugged out. I'm not even sure if we even have seen Unbreakable broken out yet, and we see Adam wave into the Nurse saying, all right, come on, chase me, but Nurse saying, no, I need to guard my gens.
Yeah. I mean, there's one gen, they're doing well, they are provoking, trying to get them into chase. You saw the Meg doing a little shimmy there to provoke the killer, but also takes the hit. I wonder if applying crossplay will get to come up and as he pursues them. There we go.
And there's the down. I mean, the Nurse has been doing well as, you know, downs are concerned. The chases aren't long. The main problem is that, unfortunately, they're just not able to hook, as it wasn't conducive to their overall game plan, understanding that the win condition was such a difficult thing to reach. However, we do see the Nurse once again, this time on the Ada. It seems that the survivors are just healing right through Sloppy Butcher time and time again, really making it impossible for them to really follow through on the slug play.
Yeah, they're doing well. I don't know if they're doubling up when they're doing that. We do see Ada. We've got two of them down. The lack of hooks isn't reflective of the Nurse gameplay, because, as you said, they are going down constantly. But Chronicles are playing well to get up and get healed. It's almost cancelling out the Nurse play. An important miss.
Yeah, they really needed to get that hit there on the Zarina. I mean, we've seen at most that these survivors have 3 survivors injured. The Nurse just has not been able to get there for that 4th survivor hit and down. And I think it really comes down to the fact that these survivors have been playing around this game plan, knowing the win condition, and saying, all right, spread out, reset in the corners of maps away from where chase is being taken. And, you know, pretty much from there, it is done and dusted.
Yeah, they've played so well and executed on both sides, from a killer and from a survivor. I'm looking forward to the final against Iconic. 2 very strong teams and killers. It'd be interesting. I wouldn't even be able to call it if we were allowed to bet on these games. I don't know who I'd put my money on, but fantastic games that we look forward to viewing tomorrow on Champions of the Fog.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm definitely excited to see Iconic versus Chronicles. We do see 2 survivors on this gen. Nurse trying to get them off in time. There's the down on the Meg with the final gen completed. And this is looking like a very likely 3-man out. However, Nurse reeling it back in. 2 survivors down, 1 injured in the distance. There's the possibility that they might get their slug out after all, but it might not matter much, as the gens have been completed. And there's the down on the Zarina. Ada still up. Is there an Unbreakable to bring this back?
I mean, the strategy is working, but it's just 5 gens too late. But yeah, it's who has the Unbreakable? Do they have the luck? But it's good to see that they got some payoff in the end, right? Got their 4K.
The game plan did work out in the end. They got their 4K, unless there's a sneaky unbreakable here in the end. And I do want to note that Apply is also halfway through their bleed out timer, another about minute and 30 seconds before they bleed out off of Fresh, reducing the amount of points that the nurse would otherwise get. So they'll need to find these slugged out survivors sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the search, the hunt continues for the slugged bodies of their victims. This is going to be tough in this shrubbery. Oh,
Yeah.
but using the audio cues has found their next one to go on. I don't know who it is. Oh, it
that
is
was
Meg.
the Meg, exactly who they wanted to find. Otherwise, they would have potentially bled out. They're now just looking for Heck, who might be out in the shrubs somewhere in the Dead Dog Saloon. Ironically, with this game plan, they did in some way, shape, or form play around Deliverance, as none of these survivors have gotten a save off of the hook, and as no one got off of the ground, looks like there's no unbreakable either. And with that being said, that there will be the end of the match, with the nurse securing the 4K at the very end, as the slug out play, well, you know, it worked eventually, just not as soon as they probably hoped.
Yeah, I'm glad that he got that in the end, that final 4K from that slug play. Unfortunately, 5 gens were completed, but you kind of like to see that happen against a very strong Chronicles side. But a good finish and fair play, well done to Chronicles as they go through. I'd just like to congratulate Prophecy. I look forward to seeing them against Tribute in the bronze final tomorrow.
Indeed, indeed. With that being said, GG, well played both teams. Congratulations to Chronicles. We'll see you tomorrow against Iconic, as we'll also see Prophecy up against Tribute tomorrow at 12 p.m. CST. So make sure you are there to catch every moment that Champs of the Fog Season 5 has to offer. But with that being said, the Pug King, looks like there will be the last match of today, as we see the nurse doing a little bit of home remodeling.
Yeah, shaving off. Maybe they're going to do some wallpapering in the saloon, but yeah, good games. It's a shame it's the last game. We're only getting into our stride, considering it's the first time we've casted with each other, but it has been enjoyable, and I'd like to thank you for your partnership and inviting me here this evening. It's a great honor.
Anytime.
And look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you here as well. But with that being said, thank you all for joining us today. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be live bright and early, 12 p.m. CST, with the finals happening at 2 p.m. CST. So make sure you are there, and we look forward to having you. But as always, we will see you then. But before I go, Bucking, any final words before we go offline for today?
Nope, apart from the fact I'm looking forward to tomorrow. 4 really good games going against each other. What a season it's been. I'd like to thank all the teams and captains and everyone that's gone ahead. And I know you'll probably do that speech tomorrow, but from the League B2, it's been an experience and an enjoyable one, and we're looking forward to cementing that partnership in the future. Thank you all.
Absolutely, absolutely, and pleasure having you here as well. But with that being said, that there will be the end of today's matches. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you tomorrow, 12 p.m. CST. I am your host, Commissioner Giltspire, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye!